Welcome to POL Classics. Be sure to check out the best of POL from over the years. It's at its most popular day and time, and guess what? It's only on WNEP+. Coming up next on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, the opening day of the Pennsylvania trout season. We'll take you streamside and lakeside for a look at the most popular fishing day in Pennsylvania. If you're hooked, pull up a chair because Pennsylvania Outdoor Life is next. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. I'm Don Jacobs, and my buddy Stan So is right over there as we get ready to talk about the day that's passed. Yesterday, the opening day of the Pennsylvania trout season. Stan started off a little windy. I know where I was in the Poconos, it was a little cold at the bewitching hour of 8 o'clock. But all in all, a lot of people having a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we sure did start off things with a bang. We saw a lot of fish being caught. What we did, in fact, was start off our day at Roaring Brook in Lackawanna County, in fact, right in downtown Scranton, where a couple of weeks ago we did a cleanup project with some youngsters. The fishermen got out there and they had a good time. Whether it's here at Roaring Brook in Lackawanna County or any other lake or stream across Pennsylvania, the scene is pretty much the same on opening day. The day starts off as a waiting game. Everyone's staking out a hole and waiting for that magical 8 o'clock start. This particular hole was truly a hot spot. It seemed angler after angler was hooking into and catching a trout. Waterways Conservation Officer Walter Buckman was here about 6 weeks ago when we covered a stream cleanup project, and his enthusiasm is apparent as he talks about the opening day.
I think it's great. I mean, we were here just a matter of probably 5 seconds and the first trout was caught. In a matter of 15 minutes, a gentleman left with his limit. So you have to be excited. We put a lot of fish in this in the hole right here, probably about 500 fish sitting right behind us here. So I'm excited about it. And the opening day of trout is always exciting to come out. I remember when I was a kid, I'd look forward to that day, and it's still with me today.
Here's an angler, Jerome Smith. Jerome, I see you're walking away from the stream already. It's only been a half hour since the season opened. What's going on?
Well, Stan, I used those tips that Mike Stevens gave me, and I was able to catch my limit here within a half hour.
You do have your limit?
Yes.
What were you using? What's the magic bait?
I was using the rooster tail. I was using a spinner, and I had a lot of success with it.
Here's a bruiser of a fish caught only minutes after the season opened. Check out this trout.
Now you were saying about catch and release, weren't you?
I said that.
What is it, Walt?
18 and a quarter.
18 and a quarter? Nice fish. Every opening day has a different twist to it. I couldn't help but notice that this year it was a day of ups and downs. For example, at Roaring Brook Creek on the upside, there were enough fish for most anglers to take home a limit. But on the downside, this trout hit 2 hooks, but only one angler gets to keep it. On the upside, it's nice having a camera crew there to capture you catching a fish and put it on TV, but sometimes on the downside, if you're not too careful, you don't get to keep it. Roaring Brook Creek in its own way is unique.
you've got a city of 80,000 people, and you look down here, and this does not look like a city. It doesn't look like Scranton. This can be anywhere. This can be the East Branch of the Tunkhannock Creek. This can be a wild trout stream in Cameron County where I was at. So it's got a nice setting. There's a lot of great fish in here, and a lot of people having a great time.
From here, we traveled to Lackawanna State Park, where we found more ups and downs. On the upside, for instance, there are a lot of fish now stocked at the lake at the park. On the downside, the wind was blowing fiercely, forcing a lot of anglers off the water. Here's a little angler named Joe Lowry of Harvey's Lake. He just got off the lake.
Who are you with?
My grandfather, my Uncle Tom, and my cousin Robbie.
And tell me all about your experience here today.
We had a good time. It was a little nippy out, but we stood it, but it was really nice.
When you started this morning, was it as windy as it is now?
No.
No? Oh, what were you using for bait?
Power bait, grubs, worms, live bait, and did I say power bait?
Yes. Speaking of power bait, that was the bait of choice for Pete Pinelli of Lake Ariel. He's one of the few fishermen along the shore that we saw catching fish at the Lackawanna State Park. And back to the ups and downs of the day. On the downside, this year we've heard a lot about PCBs. On the upside, some anglers don't seem to care.
No? You gonna take them home and eat them?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, PCBs or no PCBs.
On the upside, at the park there's a nice handicap pier to get you out into the deep water. On the downside, there's less room for casting.
Got a ramp on a hat, I think.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go.
It's in your head.
Yeah, you got one. She got a dandy.
And finally, on the upside, I noticed a lot of family interaction on this opening day, and there is no downside to that. Well, there you have it. A look at Roaring Brook, another look at a couple of streams in and around the area of the Lackawanna State Forest or the Lackawanna State Park. A lot of anglers out there, Jake, as you said, it depends on where you were. If you're catching fish, you're going to catch them. Other anglers were out there in boats being tossed around and blown around. Things were kind of tough for them.
Yep.
But the bottom line is the day had its ups and it's had its downs.
It definitely had its ups and its downs. And you know what? We were talking about ups and downs and trout fishing and stuff at the Pennsylvania Outdoor Life Expo last weekend. Tell me, what was one of the most asked questions?
What was the most asked question?
I think it was, where is Mike Stevens going to have breakfast for the opening day of the trout season?
That is the most asked question.
Stick around because we have that answer in just a few short minutes. POL Classic, we'll have much more of it on WNEP Plus right after this.
Welcome back to Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. Before we get on with our show here, I'd like to take this opportunity to say, in behalf of Don Jacobs and everybody on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life, a big thank you to all of the folks that came up and showed up at the big Pennsylvania Outdoor Life Expo that we had at the Lycoming Mall. It was nice to see the big turnout, and I'll tell you what, I say it every time we have an expo like that, Jake, the people were absolutely fantastic.
Weren't they?
It was nice to shake hands, sign autographs, say hello, and have conversation with so many nice people.
Yeah, and you know what, I'm noticing like reputations here. You have a reputation for being the all-knowing father of Pennsylvania Outdoor Life.
Is that what they say?
I was being compared to Joe Snedeker, and of course, Mike Stevens' reputation far surpasses him. Food, and of course, you know where we're going with this. In our continuing coverage of the opening day of the Pennsylvania trout season, we of course had to send Mike to a trout breakfast.
Given the weather and the forecast, everyone would understand if you just postponed your opening day. Of course, if you did that, you would miss breakfast, like the one served here at St. John's United Church of Christ in Mossdale. Oh, the sound of it is enough to warm the coldest heart. For years now, this has been a tradition in these parts. Jack Gerst is fairly new here, but the fellows who started it all gave him some good direction.
Well, this was taught to me by Wayne Eister and Cal McGargle. They are our senior guys in charge, and it started out where they said use Teflon for flipping.
Yeah.
If we had to use the, if we had to do the over easy or the dippy eggs.
Right.
And then we have this old pan over here that has nothing on it, so we scramble in here because you can't pick them out real well. That's their technique, and I just followed it.
Given that, you can see how important Wayne Eister's job is. He's the microwave operator, and he puts the bacon through.
Yeah, we save all the fat and then we use it for frying the potatoes and everything. Gives them good flavor.
Okay, thank you. 3 out of 5. One more scramble.
The food was good and hot and fresh when it came to the table, and you can't ask for more than that.
That's this order right here. Okay.
I don't imagine young Jacob Faust could anyway. Every fishing trip ought to begin and end with a good meal, I've always thought. While we dallied at breakfast, the sun moved on above the low, dark clouds that spit rain and stirred the wind. Be that as it may, folks lined a wide spot of Mahoning Creek and waited for the appointed hour. At exactly 8 a.m., the first line went in the water. 13 seconds later, the first fish came out. I should tell you that Regina Shipe saw none of that. Regina arrived late, and she was fussing a little about that. But Regina made her spot and was happy anyway. She'd brought Old Faithful, but forgot a few other things.
This is last year's power bait. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I was too tired to go out and dig worms yesterday, so I thought, oh, I'll just use what I have.
And she hadn't quite readied Old Faithful.
And I usually change lines, but I didn't get around to it this year.
Somewhat unprepared by her standards, Regina did okay.
Fishing, you don't worry about anything.
No?
Nothing in the whole world. All you worry about is the right bait for that fish. That's why I started years ago.
Looking on at all this was Jacob Faust. Remember him from breakfast? Ah, the sweet spot on Mahoning Creek. A good time was had by all. On the shore of Muncie Creek in Lycoming County, Bob Snyder and Delbert Nelson were wrapping up. They'd finished by 8:30, really, catching their limit with spinners. A little upstream in Hughesville, look at the picture definition of the word whopper. Brian Frisch of Danville picked up this monster in Muncie Creek and said it'd end up on his wall. By and by, we wrapped up our day. Life on the first day of trout season was good. It got better when I found the stand set up by Scout Troop 70 of Picture Rocks.
I just have a regular hot dog then. Might as well finish the day here. You got any?
My day had come full circle, I thought. It doesn't get much better than that.
Boy, Mike got around, didn't he?
He sure did.
He covered that central Pennsylvania area pretty well, and we'd like to thank Bill Bailey, the Newswatch 16 cameraman that accompanied him on his hard task of breakfast. And of course, you were with producer Doug Engel.
Yes.
And I was with Frank Girardi. My story's yet to come. We'll have even more POL Classics on WNEP Plus right after this.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Now, you've already seen how it looked through my eyes on the opening day of the trout season. Of course, we got to see where Mike traveled and how it went for him. But, Jake, I'm anxious to see how things went for you up in the Poconos.
Well, for the first time, I spent it in the Pike County area. And, of course, Pike County, known for Promised Land State Park. Little did I know there was a lake inside the park and a stream inside the park that gets stocked pretty well for the opening day and throughout the year. We spent our morning taking a look at things and how they went at Promised Land State Park. Another year, another opening day, a different location for us, but the weather seems to always be just like this. drizzly, rainy, cold. But as you can see, in this section of Promised Land State Park, that did not keep the people from lining the shores of this lake, getting ready to catch some of the thousands of trout that have been put in for the opening day festivities. And as people's watches hit the 8 o'clock mark, their fishing lines hit the rain-dimpled water of Lower Lake. State park officials were around to make sure that everyone was safe and able to enjoy themselves. Barbara Davy Triol is the park manager.
We have about a 3,000-acre park here with 2 lakes. Together they equal about 600 acres of water, and we're right in Pike County, and we have a great day here for the first day of trout season.
Tell me about the 2 lakes.
Both lakes are full of fish. However, the trout are only in Lower Lake. They're stocked in Lower Lake and in the stream above and below Lower Lake. Now, Upper Lake has a nice myriad of fishable fish, but not trout. On our lakes, you can have boats, but it's electric motor only, no gasoline motors. But it's a great lake for that. It's rather shallow. It's definitely a Pocono lake, and it's great for fishing because there's a lot of structure already in the lake, a lot of old stumps and logs. But it's great for kayaks, canoes, rowboats, and your smaller boats with electric motors.
People were pulling trout out of the water and up to the bridge. Now this works for smaller fish, but it's not that easy with the trophy on the line.
Stay here. I got it. Take it, man. Yeah. There, I got one! Oh my God. Pull up! Here, Hank! You snack? He broke everything.
These young anglers belong to a group of 28 kids and adults up for the weekend from Ivyland, Pennsylvania.
What was it, 28 people in the cabin this morning?
Yeah.
Had to cook breakfast for 28 kids?
Oh, God
Ham,
bless
egg,
you.
and cheese, it was like Army production line.
God bless you. Tell me, what's it take to get this many kids fishing with the tangles and the bait? I mean, that's a heck of an undertaking.
Yeah, patience, yep.
We did meet up with a successful gang from the Pottsville area. John Kowalczyk tells us about his crew.
I have a cottage up here, and I come up here fishing on the first day of trout. The last couple of years, we've been coming up.
Now you mean family affair, a bunch of guys?
Well, yeah, all these guys that you see here, yeah. My buddy Mike, Joe, my son's friend here, Frank, and my son's in the water, they're fishing now.
So out of the 6 guys, how many fish are you going to take home? Are everybody going to get their limit today?
Well, we got 5 guys here, and everybody's got their limit, except for my son in there. He's got 1 more to get.
It didn't seem to matter what people were fishing with in the lake. The trout weren't hungry when we were there. This moth actually floated around for a while without being gobbled up. The hottest spot by far was the stream between the 2 lakes. Has Promised Land been known for trout fishing on the opening day?
Actually, it only started about 6 years ago, and we've had a great turnout. We wanted to offer something a little bit different in the spring and offer people an opportunity because trout fishing is so popular in this area. So we decided to include one of our lakes and the stream. We have really high quality water, but it's only been about 6 years and it's going real well.
We were on hand as Eric Cobb of Archibald pulled in his limit of trout. His father, Bill, loves fishing in the state park. All right, is that your limit then?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Eric caught his first trout here last year, okay, so he wanted to come back here. And we usually come up here in the fall. We rent a cabin, so we have a weekend, you know.
So you take advantage of the whole state park thing?
Yes, I enjoy Promised Land State Park.
This is a very old park, almost 100 years, and we have 4th generation families coming here. It's great. Mostly we see families, but of course individuals from all over the country, and some from across the river from New Jersey and New York, but mostly Pennsylvanians coming right here to fish.
A lot of people using state parks. In fact, since they started stocking a lot of the state parks, usage in the state parks is going up. More people taking advantage of the open areas around those lakes. And that's a real tribute to the state to start getting more people involved in using state parks.
And it's taken the pressure off of other areas that normally would have had all of those other anglers at.
Yeah,
great little program.
You know what though, Stan? I have to ask you this. As you were walking around, was anybody talking about this big PCB stuff?
Very few people. In fact, in our story, there was only one person who brought it up, and it was only because we asked him what his thoughts were.
Yeah.
He said, hey, PCBs or no PCs, in the frying pan.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what we heard, because Huntsdale Reservoir, or Huntsdale Fish Hatchery, also stocked Promised Land. And there were a couple of people that said, who do we believe now? And I said, we have to believe the Fish and Boat Commission's latest report.
Right.
So that's what you have to follow. And as far as I'm concerned, I saw a lot of trout head into the frying pan myself.
And when I get out there today with this vest, mine's going in a frying pan. Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, it's product demonstration and giveaway time. Jake, while we were down at the expo, a gentleman came up to me and he says, I've got some flies to give away to you. He's a professional fly tyer and a fly fishing guide. His name is Robert Blyler, located on Blee Hill Road in Danville. And he gave us these, and I said, what do you call them, Bob? Do they have names? He said, just call them Bob Fuzzy Bugs. And he said, they are for you to give away on the show. And as you can see here, a nice little collection of them. Great little tiny, small, bitty little flies that are going to be excellent for those who get out there on the trout stream. We could have used them ourselves, but we're going to give them away just as he asked.
Let's give them away. And you know what? I didn't see anybody fly fishing today, did you?
No, in fact, we haven't. We've seen people using live bait and spinners, and a lot of fishermen catching fish, by the way, on spinner baits.
Yep. Okay,
on
let's give this
spinners.
away. If I can get this rolling. This thing's getting heavy, Stan. Okay, let's reach in here. All right. Next week, we're going to try to bring back Pennsylvania People and Places. And a regular show next week, so be sure to tune in.
The winner of today's product, these flies, goes to Scott Semerod of Pottsville.
Congratulations, Scott.
Okay, that about wraps it up for this week on Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. As I lose my voice here, for Don Jacobs, Doug Engel, Mike Stevens, and everybody behind the scenes, I'm Stan So, wishing all of you the very best in the outdoors of Pennsylvania. Good night.
Pennsylvania Outdoor Life is a local presentation of WNEP TV. We're proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania.
Brown trout. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to tune in Sundays at 6:30 for more POL Classics. The best of POL in its most popular time slot, Sunday at 6:30. And it's only on WNEP+.